Hello and welcome. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy, and this is a Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy picks video. We will be doing my picks for Wintergreen. I'm leaving it open as to the cut because I have some fine and long cuts here. I also want to point out that there's a couple of these that I don't overly flavor-wise care for, but I wanted to include them because they are products that I think everyone should at least try. Okay? So they'll be at the lower end of the top 5, and my actual favorites will be, 1 and 2. So, I also wanted to say, now, I had planned on doing a top 5 series. I had mentioned it in a news thing months ago. However, I had been putting off, and somebody sort of got me moving on this, and I want to thank them for doing so, and they are sort of the reason why you're seeing these videos now and not at some later date. So that is Chillax, who kept suggesting top 5 picks to me in various locations. So thank you, Chillax. Anyway, over the last couple days since I did the first one, my personal top 5 pick, there have been a couple people publicly and privately wonder about Wintergreen, which is why I'm doing this one now. The other reason I am doing the Wintergreen now is because one of these products is no longer on its company's website. However, I do know a location where it is. So, let's get started. The number 5 spot, I'm going to count down here. The number 5 spot is where Wintergreen Dip started. And if it wasn't for Copenhagen Snuff, it would be the surviving product where Dip started, period. With the exception of a couple Swisher products that Swisher got the name, the rights to the names, but those products are nothing like they were. Or at least I'm telling myself that Swisher doesn't have them like they were originally. So you have Copenhagen Snuff in at 1822. In 1934, Skull Original Fine Cut, or as it was up until the mid-80s, Skull. This was Skull. This was the entirety of the line. So, for all the reasons that I just mentioned, you really should give this a try, even if you do not care for Wintergreen. This is, as far as smokeless tobacco in the United States or North America goes, this is part of history. In the number 4 spot, this is a product, flavor-wise, I'm all right with. It's just not around me normally, and when I do see it, it's not something. It's Wintergreen, and I'm just not a big Wintergreen guy. So it's very soft to the touch. Okay, it's got a standard Wintergreen flavor. The tobacco, to touch it with like your hands you notice something different right away. And as everybody knows and everybody goes on about, it has a significantly higher nicotine count. So the number 4 spot goes to Kodiak Wintergreen. Which also comes in pouches. Not often seen, but it does come in pouches. As for the Skull Original, the number 5 slot, that and this should both be tried. The Skull, I'm not overly keen on the flavor. But if you like a strong, dark tobacco undertone, you may like this. The cut also is something to it's almost not fine cut. It's almost like a wintergreen snuff, basically. That's basically what it is. But these two are things that I don't overly care for. Definitely don't go out of my way for it, but these are both must-tries in my mind. Now, going on to the number 3 spot is something that I actually did like. Now, unfortunately, I am never going to see this around my area. This is part of Grizzly's line that is not sold in stores around me. And all of a sudden, I need to spit like every 10 seconds, it seems. But it is very different compared to the rest of the regular Grizzly line. And that is Grizzly's Fine Cut Wintergreen. The difference here is that it is sweet. It is probably the sweetest Grizzly product I have ever encountered. It is also pretty darn moist, which is also not something that I mentally connect with Grizzly's regular line. The moisture level was high in this when I did it for the review, and it leaned sweet. So if you like sweeter wintergreens, Copenhagen, whatnot, then you definitely want to try this out. All right. So the number 2 spot. Now this is what I go to when I have an urge to have wintergreen. That doesn't happen very often, but this is what I go to because it's easily found. All right. So the number 2 spot is something I will buy a can or two of a year outside of review material or any content, is Copenhagen's Long Cut Wintergreen. The reason for this is because it is sweet, one. The moisture level's good, as is the usual with Copenhagen products. And when I say a good moisture content, a higher moisture content, all right? I'm a Stoker's guy, so more moisture the better in my mind, all right? So this gets it done, and I find it to be sweeter than the Stoker's Long Cut Wintergreen. Plus, this can be found everywhere around me. So number 2 is Copenhagen Wintergreen. Now, the number 1, and possibly the surprise of this year to me, or possibly the surprise of this channel thus far, is a product that is no longer showing on its company's website. And that is, coming in at number 1, Stoker's Fine Cut Wintergreen. Now, I am showing you the tub of it because that is the only way that this is, or was, depending how you want to go, packaged. This was the only Stoker's dipping tobacco product that did not get released in cans. Now, originally, when Stoker's started doing dip, there were no cans. There were just tubs, okay? And you had the straight wintergreen, mint, long cuts. And then you had, and the natural, okay? So you had the 4 long cuts, and then you had fine cut natural and fine cut wintergreen. This stuff is ridiculously soft to the touch, to the fingers, okay? The flavor release is fast. It has a little bit of cling to it, even though it is a fine cut. Now, the cut is a little bit longer than, let's say, the Skull Original, but it is a fine cut. But I can pinch this stuff with no backing finger, all right? The flavor is sweet. The moisture is high, and it's very soft. Yeah, I get floaters. I have, after a little while, a constant issue of trying to keep it together. That's just me not being used to fine cuts. That's just me being a long cut guy. This, though, this is quality stuff. And as I said when I did the review of it, it's basically gone. I actually used it. Now, as I said, this has disappeared from the Stoker's website. It has not been on the website for, I noticed it about 6 weeks ago, but it could have been longer, I don't know. There is a place that I am not affiliated with. In fact, I want to stress that because I don't want to ever be affiliated with them. I do not like the place at all. Okay? I feel that the online retailer is taking advantage of their position as the only game in town and is flat out a ripoff. That said, they do have a stock of 100 plus tubs of this. So if you were really, really inclined, and keeping in your mind at all times that I am not affiliated, number one, and also telling you that they're a bit of a ripoff, number two, the Northerner has a large stock of Stoker's fine cut wintergreen. All right? And their stock is always in good shape. I will give them that. Their product always comes in good shape. At the moment, this is also on sale. Now, you're going to see it at $19 and some change, and it's going to be on sale for like $14 and change. And you're going to go, whoa, that's like $5 off. If you're not familiar with the Northerner, let me give you the skinny you on this, all right? When you go to checkout, they're going to start applying every state and federal tax known to man. By the time you're done, I guarantee you it will be back up to at least $20, maybe more. Then you're going to go to checkout, the shipping, and you're going to realize that the cheapest shipping option is $18.95. The tub is now $40. So if you do go this route, you want to peruse their other pages and possibly pick up more products. The ideal thing would be is if you knew somebody at tobacco, if you knew a tobacco store that had it, would be the ideal. But short of that, if you had to in with a store owner and he could get this into his store, that would be definitely better option-wise. Okay, I am only throwing out the Northerner bit because for people that are really interested, that may be the last option, because the way it's looking right now, this is on the way out the door. It's getting down to like a do or die time. It's now or never. So, all of that said, that is the 5. Coming in at 5, a must try. Not my favorite flavor wise, but if you like dark tobacco underneath the wintergreen, this may be your guy. Possibly the best can lid design ever. All right, that is another selling point. Number 4, okay, that Skull was 5. This is 4. Kodiak, very soft to the touch. Dirty Pat Walsh one time said that it had something to do with them. They do an extra spinning process with the tobacco. It is literally soft to the touch, which is unique in long cuts. Higher nicotine. Okay, wintergreen. It's not overly sweet, but it's okay. All right, but higher nicotine, and come on, it's Kodiak. Number 3, a big surprise, and would have been the biggest surprise of the year hadn't I come to the Stokers, but the Grizzly Fine Cut Wintergreen is very sweet, very moist, and I enjoyed it. I finished this can. My standby, the one I go to, because I prefer stuff that's sweet and with higher moisture, is the Copenhagen Wintergreen, which a lot of you, most of you, will be familiar with. And Number one, the Stoker's Fine Cut Wintergreen that only comes in a tub. And that is my take, my picks for Wintergreen. Keeping in mind that I am not a Wintergreen guy, all right? I don't overly care for it. The one that I've really become keen on to the point that I have basically dipped 10 cans of it in the last month or two, I guess, is this. But all of the ones I mentioned from the number 5 spot on down are all worth a try. I can't imagine too many people that haven't tried the Copenhagen, but if you haven't for some reason, again, this is stuff 5 and 4 you should try no matter what. All right, it's just, you know, that should be tried. All right, this and this, these were my big surprises this year, and both of them are very worthy of being in the, you know, the 3 and 1 spot. And that's it. All right, so I do hope you all are well. I will be doing shout outs on the next video. That's all. I am the Suit&Tie Dip&ChewGuy. Do take care of yourselves, and God bless.